So let's get back to Noah and this ark and God talking. God was very specific about this ark. Super specific. And God showed me some things about this ark. And this is what he showed me about the ark, is what he's talking about when what he's trying to get us to see when he mentions, you know, understanding the miraculous move of God, or being able to recognize a miraculous move of God. These are the things that he wants us to see. Because remember, there's instructions, and we have to be obedient to those instructions. God told Noah to build a window. And we know a window represents being able to visually see something. So God prophetically put in Noah, or prophetically showed Noah his will. God gave Noah the prophetic insight of his will. God told Noah to put a door on it. The ark, that is. Now mind you, the ark is what? The ark is the provision where we're supposed to be placed for safety. It is something built, created for our safety and our protection. So for our safety and protection, God gave us prophetic insight to his will. For our protection and safety, God gave us not only the prophetic insight, but he gave us access to that, to that prophetic insight. That's representation of the door God told Noah to build. So, and then God told Noah, make the ark 3 stories. Okay, how God gonna work this? Okay, this is what God told me. He may have told you something different, but this is what he told me. The 3 stories represents, and remember, we're talking about Noah, but it's a present day, not issue, but it's a present day principle. Thank you, Holy Spirit. It's a present day principle. God told Noah to build 3 stories on that ark. Well, God told me that those 3 stories represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, we all know as believers that they are one and the same. But we have to understand that the revelation that we get them as a Godhead. The revelation that we get them as a Godhead comes in stages. Not he come in stages, but our revelation to who he is come in stages. You have the first level, God told me, was God himself. You know, that's where, you know, as people before Christ, we say, you know, look at these trees, look at this water, look how the sun and moon know how to properly align themselves at the proper time. There has to be a creator. That's what gets us to say, there gotta be a God. That's the first story. The second story is we understanding that there's a God, and now trying to figure out, okay, how do we get to this God? So we go through Jesus, who is the second story, and he is our reconciliation back to God. So we understand this principle. I'm sorry, looking at the time, I'm like, good God. We understand this principle. And so the third story, because now we have God, now we have access, understand our access to God through Jesus, because that's the word. No one gets to me except through, no one gets to the Father except through me. That was Jesus talking. So we know now we have access to God through Jesus, which is the second story. And the third story represents the Holy Spirit. Now we want to become, in order to become more like our Creator, whom we long after, and now we've been reconciled to through Jesus, we have to have the Holy Spirit to instruct us how to elevate our mindset, you know, our natural mindset, to go ahead and become more like our Creator. Okay, now going back to, so now we have the different stories, and we understand the importance of what God did as far as when he was very specific on building the ark. We're talking about building the ark now. There's so much more in what he put in the ark. That may be a part 2. But we're talking about what God told Noah to do when building the ark. Remember, the ark is the instruction. The ark is the place of protection and safety. So God instructed Noah how to build, create his place of protection and safety on the earth realm. Against what? Again, against financial issues, against sickness, against whatever it is that will attempt to flood you out. And let me tell you something. If my shoe get wet, I'm mad. So that means that I don't want no water that's ungodly to touch me. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, flooding of blessings. I'm not talking about, you know, I'm talking about the flood represents a, what I want to say, not an attack of the enemy, but a flood represents sin. You know, the flood in this case represents sin, because God used it to wash out all of this sin. I don't want water on me like the flood. I want the showers of blessings on me. So in that case, I need to figure out, allow God to teach me how to build my ark of safety and protection. So in doing this, we have to understand that when God performs a miraculous thing, and I know it feels like I'm jumping because I'm so full and I'm trying to write it, I'm like, oh. So I hope you get it. We have to understand, when God performs a miraculous move, every earthly thing must die. As a matter of fact, every earthly thing will die. And the earthly thing represents the sin. I didn't say the sinner, I said the sin. It represents the sickness. It represents the debt. It represents everything that is earthly that the enemy has tried to attach on the people's lives. And the importance of understanding why the earthly things have to die is to understand that when God does a miraculous move, it is in order to reestablish his covenant. And that's what God told Noah, I have established my covenant with you. And it's to reestablish his covenant. And his covenant is in the lives of talking about reestablishing his covenant in the lives that he moved the miraculous in, or on, or for. This covenant is a binding agreement. It's a promise. It's an agreement especially for the performance of some action. This covenant refers to souls and stuff. See, the people on Noah's Ark represented the souls. The animals, the foods, the fruits represented the stuff. So when God makes a miraculous move, he's going to save the souls and the stuff. But everything contrary to that will die. And that's just a fact. And I'm not talking about people, so don't think I'm saying that people finna die. I'm talking about the spiritual. A miraculous move of God not only carries out miracles, and I said this earlier, not only carries out miracles, but it carries with it a great shift in the spiritual realm and also in the natural realm. So God is about to have a miraculous move on not just his people, but see, the flood happened on the earth. That'll preach right there. It wasn't just with his people. So as his believers, don't just be praying and believing God for yourself, but let the miraculous move of God be praying and believing that for others outside of his will, outside of his covenant, outside of his protection. Pray for the miraculous, because what we're saying is, okay, God, we want you to move not just on your people, but in the people, so that everything contrary to you, the spiritual, all of the natural stuff, will die. It will die. That's what we're praying for. We're praying that their souls are restored back to God. We're praying that their stuff is released back to them. And in doing that, of course, God gonna take care of us. So you ain't got to worry about keep praying and believing God for you and yours. No, it's time out for that. It's time for us to start praying and believing God for them and theirs. You know, it is so much bigger than us, but we get lost in thinking that we are his people. And God gave me a revelation about that. All of mankind are his people. It's just who accepts him as their God. There's a difference. We're all his people. Because at the end of the day, and by the end of the day, I mean, you know, when eternity comes, we're all going to have to stand before him. And if we weren't his, we wouldn't have to stand before him. But we're his creation. Then we will see, or it will be differentiated, who was our father. Were you with the father of lies, or were you with the father, the King of Kings? So, you know, there's a difference. We're all we're all his people, because we're all his creation. So we as Christians, as believers, have to stop getting into a mindset that we are his people. The first part, if my people who are called by my name, you have to understand, it was differentiated right there. There's his people, and then there's his people who are called by his name. So we as believers have to stop thinking that we are his people and nobody else. The sinner and the saint are God's people. It's just a reflection of, because we're all his creation. But now, are we called by his name? And so don't get so lost and so caught up in thinking that everything is about you getting yours. Let's get focused. I'm big on this all souls matter, because I know it does. It's so much greater. So much greater. So much greater. So I love you guys. I think this movie, oh my God. Oh my God. This if you have stuck it out through this video, God's gonna bless you, because this is a long video. I have to edit this video, so I can only imagine how long it's gonna take to watch it. But I enjoyed this. I'm actually shocked that nobody has knocked on my window to figure out if I'm okay. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Sorry for the shadows and the darkness and whatever. Had to do what I had to do. Gotta make it work. Gotta make it happen.
Slept on me, trying to eat with vultures. Y'all look frail, let me feed the culture. Can't get full of the lead and coke, huh? Still sober? Y'all OD, follow me. Where the rain follow me. King, yeah, I know the king. Martin Luther King. You ain't really on the throne, boy, you in a dream.